So welcome back. I got the phone call that I've been waiting for on the exhaust manifold, and from the powder coaters. I actually had the exhaust manifold ceramic coated, so let me show you that. It turned out really good. I'm pretty pleased with it. Just the standard black. I don't know if they had colors. I didn't want a gloss black or anything. And some of the pipe on the turbo kit is flat black, so I'm pretty pleased with it. So I ground off some of the flashing that was on the side from the casting process. Just used one of the flapper wheel grinding this on it, and it turned out really nice, and you can't even tell it was there. I could have done a little better job, but for the most part, I'm pretty pleased with it. So I did the inside a little bit too, but anyway, that is that. I'm pretty happy with it. So the next step is I have to scrape the gaskets off the ports, and I'm not going to bother you with that. I have to knock the freeze plug out of the block for the oil return line, and then I don't know if you can see it because it's dark down there, but the other original drain tube, it's the metal pipe that sticks out of the block. I have to pull that one off, so I'm not going to film that stuff. That's pretty standard, but when I get the manifold put on, I will come back and start filming. We'll put the HE351 turbo on it, and that'll be the first step. So I will be back shortly. Alright, I've got those two pieces out. The freeze plug in the back of the block for the oil drain, and then the front tube. But let me show you something for those guys that don't know. I'm assuming that a lot of you do know this, but let me show you anyway. On the freeze plug in the block, I've seen a lot of people drill these and then put a screw in it. One of the things I do, same thing with freeze plugs for like water jackets. I just use a punch and hit it on the bottom side with a hammer, and then what that does is it rotates it in the block, and then I grab it with a pair of vice grips. Well, it's too big now. I just grab it with a pair of small vice grips, and then it pulls out. If it does go into the oil pan, you grab it with a magnet and then pull it out the same way. And on the elbow here on the front side, there's an O-ring on it. So what I do, I just use an extension, put it in there, work it back and forth and lifting up at the same time, and then it pops out. So if you ever have to replace this, change the O-ring on it and install it the same way, but it rotates in there, no big deal. So the only thing left to do now is, I forgot about it, was the exhaust pipe. So I will get that. Yeah, looks like it's kind of dark in there, but you can't see. So I'll probably get that tomorrow night, and then start hanging the manifold back onto it, and then the first turbo, and we'll go from there. So I'll be back. So the next step now is pulling the exhaust pipe out of there, and then hanging the manifold, and then I'll start putting the turbocharger on it. But I've got a box of goodies here. Hopefully I can get some of this installed today, and then I'm not gonna film probably hanging the manifold on with trying to put the gaskets on at the same time. So anyway, I'll get that stuff done, and then I'll come back and give you an update. So I'll be right back. Here's a quick shot of the turbochargers before I start bolting them on. The first one, I know I've mentioned this before, but the first one is a modified HE351 6067 and a 9, and then the other one is a BorgWarner 472 SXE. So it's just huge compared to the HE351. Anyway, I am really excited to see how this thing performs exhaust temperature wise, and hopefully pulling some hills it won't heat up. So anyway, let me start bolting them on. Here's a little update for you. I've got the exhaust manifold bolted on. I've got the bracket for the upper turbo bolted on, it's still loose. The HE351 exhaust flange is thicker than the K27, so I have to get longer studs to go in there, so I can't do anything tonight. And I'll be able to bolt the K27 or the HE351 onto it tomorrow. I've held the Borg-Warner turbo up here, and the thing is just, it's huge, and I think I'm going to have issues. The cold side of it coming in looks like it's going to be right in the way of the alternator, so I might have to do some more fabrication than what I was thinking. But so I'm not going to stress on it right now. I want to get the bottom turbo hooked up, and just go to the next step first and see what happens. And then the other side is the exhaust pipe on the back of the upper turbo. It comes straight out. It's going to be somewhere around here, so it might, I don't know if it's going to squeeze down on the side here or if it'll have to go up and over. So I won't know that until I get the other turbo bolted on. So anyway, that's it for tonight, but stay tuned. I'll do another update once I get closer, once I get the other turbo one, so probably do that tomorrow after work. So hang tight. Alright, I'm back. I got the studs in the exhaust manifold so I can hang the lower turbo. Let me show you what the problems I've run into now. It does fit. This is basically a mock-up because I knew there was going to be some issues on it, but it does fit. The HE351 fits in the bottom there. I have to relocate one of the heater hoses, which is not a big deal, just drain the system, cooling system. And then this one here, it's got electrical wires in it. It's going to be fine, but everything else is fine. Everything else fits. I have not clocked the main body yet, and this one here is still loose, so it will turn. The wastegate does not hit the block, so that was good. That was one of my concerns there. So the problem I ran into is this pipe here. It clamps onto the back of the HE351, and it's just sitting there because the clamp that they sent me won't fit. It's too small. It's a 4 1/4 clamp, but the HE351 is a 4.4 exhaust housing where the clamp, so the clamp is too small. It will physically go on there, but the stud is not long enough to engage for the nut to go onto it. And then on the second one here, gosh, the studs that go through the brackets, I should have showed you before I put that on there. Let me pull that back off. So the brackets, I didn't show you assembling it. Let's see if that lights it up. This bracket here attaches to the studs, or the Allen bolts that go into the cylinder head to hold the exhaust manifold on. It's a really nice bracket. The problem is, I think I've got a nut on the back side of it now. Shoot. The problem with the bracket is how the tube is welded to the back side of it. It must have shifted during the welding assembly or the welding process because there's not enough room to get a nut on the lower side. I'll show you a picture of it. So it's just sitting there. There's no clamp on the bottom, and there's no nut on the bottom here, and there's just a nut there, and these studs just thread into it. So that's all good there. So let me put the turbo back on. This thing is a monster. So the combination does fit. I knew there was going to be issues with exhaust manifold. So the manifold, it did come with a pipe. Let me show you the pipe. It did come with this piece here. So I'll be able to use some of that. What I will do is I'll have it turn the corner at a sharp and then another corner and then go down, unless I'll do some more investigation. Maybe it'll be easier to go down here. I'll take a look at that. I'm guessing probably not because of the heat, so it's probably going to be best to go around the backside and then down. So the other issue is, and I had a feeling it was going to be that way, is the alternator is really close to the turbo, the inlet side, so that could create an issue there. Well, it's going to create an issue, so I'm going to have to probably lift the turbocharger up a little bit and then make a bracket for it to lift it up. And then the intake side connects right here to the air filter, so that's a really short thing, a short run for it there. Maybe an elbow, short piece of aluminum pipe. And then this one here goes to the charge air cooler, which is right there, so that won't be a big deal. I might have to reroute this heater hose as well, but for the most part everything's gonna work, other than one bracket lifted up. And then I'll probably have to extend this pipe here, make it a little taller, and there's plenty of room for it to clear the firewall. So everything is going to work. I knew going into this that the charge air and the fresh air were going to be, and the exhaust was going to be an issue. Actually, I didn't know the fresh air was going to be an issue because they used the Cobra head hose connectors. So this one here goes like that, and the same thing I was hoping. I didn't realize that they were actually larger, but the inlet on the 472 is 5.5 versus this one here is only 5-inch. So that would create an issue there. It's not big enough and it doesn't stretch. So I'll have to go and lift this one up just to clear the alternator, and then a elbow will go on there, and then I can run it over to that. So that's not a big deal, and it all fits under the hood. There's nothing around it for heat wise to melt anything, so that's good. So other than that, I just wanted to give you guys a shot on this, just to see how it's going. And I don't know if I'll do any more videos of it because I have to do some fabrication now, and I'll probably send them out for ceramic coating on the hot side. And so I just wanted to show you guys that. I'm gonna call it a night and get this video posted, and then I have to call the company tomorrow and get the new pipe ordered and the correct clamp, and figure out how to make a bracket to get that turbocharger lifted up. So anyway, I'll get another video posted as soon as I can, just to give you an update. And I've got a vacation. My holiday break is starting next Friday, so I'm trying to get some stuff done on my vacation. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll get another video posted as soon as I can. Thanks a lot.